Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA market update. This is Gianni DePoce, and it's great, as always, to be with you all. We had a pretty exciting week across many markets. Stocks experienced strong rallies off their lows that were formed at the beginning of Gemini season on May 20th. So the question is this the start of a new rally higher? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit as we look at some charts. We also had some significant moves in crude oil, breakdowns in cryptocurrencies, and other markets as well. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Let's start off with the S&P 500. We have a little bit of trading left in the week, and we're trading near the highs of the week in the Dow. This is a pretty strong sign. But we remember that we are still in Mercury retrograde, and we have to be a little bit skeptical of this rally because Mercury retrograde has a tendency for false moves to be experienced. But the question becomes, was the false move the initial breakdown lower, or is this the false move associated with Mercury retrograde? We often don't know the answer until after the fact. So the Dow had a strong week. We also note that the NASDAQ is having a strong rally here on Friday, trading near the highs of the week, still below some key technical levels, but perhaps an important cycle low unfolded. As you know, we were in the back half of Taurus. The sun had the conjunction with Uranus in the later part of Taurus. And this past week, we also saw Mercury ingress into the sign of Taurus, and then Mars went into its ruling sign of Aries on May 24th. And then we also had today here on Friday a square aspect with Venus and Pluto. So Venus rules currencies, rules grains, Pluto rules debt. So this actually is a good segue into the next chart that we can look at, which is interest rates. We're looking at the interest rate on the 10-year Treasury note here, and they've been coming down from their multi-year highs in the last couple of weeks. We had a new multi-year high registered in the 10-year Treasury note yield on May 9th, but the trend has been very strongly up. And we've talked about this before, whether, the secular decline in interest rates was over after we had the Capricorn climax not long before the COVID crash of 2020. We had Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all within a few degrees of each other in the sign of Capricorn when we had the all-time low in interest rates that accompanied the COVID crash of 2020. So we're going to look at crude oil next, but we had a little bit of a respite in the rally in crude oil, which gave interest rates a little bit of breathing room. They came down a little bit. They were overbought, but now with Mars set to have the conjunction with Jupiter here on May 29th, we have to think about whether we're going to see another inflammation in geopolitical tensions, and if Mars lights a fire under Jupiter. Jupiter is a co-ruler of crude oil with Neptune. Does that lead to higher energy prices, which in turn could push interest rates back higher? So let's go ahead and look at crude oil here. We see that it's trading, near a key technical level here as well. But actually, let's look at the XLE energy ETF because I like to look at this ETF as well because it tracks a basket of energy stocks, and we can see that it's making new multi-year highs here. And again, with the Mars conjunction with Jupiter, I think that could be a catalyst for higher energy prices. In the week ahead, we also have Mercury coming out of its retrograde motion. We'll be going direct on June 3rd, the Friday, but then the day after, Saturn will commence its retrograde motion on June 4th. So keep an eye on that. We could see some important reversals and see whether the trends that have basically manifested over the last week or two are legit or not. So let's go ahead and look at some cryptocurrencies real quick because Bitcoin and Ethereum as well have been consolidating their losses. Ethereum's declining more than Bitcoin. And this begs the question, Ethereum's more of a decentralized coin, decentralized network. Bitcoin is more of a centralized. Is this a new regime? DeFi did better than, the centralized crypto, but now that there's some volatility and some turmoil in the space, is the market's appetite changing to a more, secured, centralized system? Sometimes that's the case when there's a flight to safety trade unfolding. So we know that Uranus going through Taurus boom bust cycle. Have we begun the bust portion of that cycle? Well, it certainly would seem so. although we won't have the definite answer until Uranus gets towards more towards the end of its transit through Taurus. So in looking at a chart at Bitcoin here, looks pretty bearish. We've been talking about the weakness in cryptocurrencies. In our MMA reports, our crypto reports, weekly and daily levels, would highly encourage you to check those out. When you look at Ethereum real quick here, or we are running out of time for this week, but Ethereum, close to breaking new lows. Did it take out that low from May 12th? It sure did. So Ethereum breaking to new lows here as well. And again, it kind of begs the question whether we have reached that bust portion of the boom bust cycle with Uranus in Taurus. We also have Venus ingressing into her ruling sign of Taurus this weekend on May 28th. So keep an eye on that, because we're going to have the conjunction between Venus and Uranus in the next 2 weeks or so. And so I think we're going to have to keep a close eye on cryptocurrencies as well as grain markets, currencies as well. The dollar's been doing very well, coming down a little bit from its highs recently. So those are definitely some markets to watch. So that takes care of everything I wanted to review with you this week. Would encourage you to sign up for our free weekly column. It's an excellent supplement to these videos. Ray writes that up every week and it gets sent out to your email. And you can also view it on the website. Check us out at www.mmacycles.com. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.